Am I a content creator? Am I creative? Am I an artist? Can God use it? Are you? I don't know. We're about to talk about it in the next episode of the Fortnite Bible Podcast. If you like this video, drop a comment, ask a question in the comments, hit like, hit subscribe, share with a friend. Appreciate you guys.
Help me out with this. Culturally, I feel like, we hear so often that the church should, and oftentimes it's the most creative, but I saw you were at like ComplexCon, and obviously like there's one or two Christian companies, but it just feels like as a church, when we try to do something, it's not like as good as it could be. It just feels like we just get it out there for the sake of copying the world, not to be pioneers, So how do you walk through that? Like how do you stay consistent and creative, but not like I would like to say like misrepresent, who Christ is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that absolutely. I mean, I think this is where I think we get that statement wrong. We say the church is supposed to be the most creative, but we forget that the church is a part of something bigger called the kingdom. And a lot of times we relegate all the gifts and all the activity of God just to what happens within the church. The church is definitely an important part, like hugely important, right? But we're a part of a kingdom. Jesus said. He said, like seek first the kingdom, not seek first church. Obviously, I'm not at all trying to suggest that church isn't part of that, but I think sometimes we get so hyper focused in what we produce within church that we forget that as church, as pastors, our job is to equip the saints to do ministry. Our job is to create an atmosphere where the designers get discipled and then deployed, and they go out there and do it. And so personally, I less and less these days care if a church is creative as long as they're caring for creatives. And personally,
that's amazing.
I wonder if some churches are so focused on being creative that they're sacrificing influence because they're trying to be something they should be supporting. And I think sometimes you can tell that with giftings. Like, when you think of the Sistine Chapel, or who made that? A pastor? Oh, an artist, like when you think of even when the temple was being constructed, it was not the Levites that were like doing it. It was anointed craftsmen. Same with the tabernacle. I believe it's Exodus 35 is a really inspiring piece where like, it even says I should pull it up. Jake Nimitz, bro, are you kidding me, G? Jake Nimitz, do I say your last name right? Is in my chat, bro. One of the OGs. One of my OG youth kids from Rockford, Illinois, Harlem High School. Not only is he a baller baseball player, but he was a state champion bowler, bro, and more, bro. My gosh, of course I remember you. And yes, what they might not remember, Jake, is the dodgeball youth group championships. You guys won a shake and bake, bro, with the all pink uniforms, bro. I remember that so well, bro. You're so special to me, bro. I'm so glad you're in chat. Yeah, like 13 years ago, bro. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're here, bro. What is new, bro? How did you even know that I stream? This is crazy. But yeah, I don't know what you think about that, Kevin. That's kind of like my general premise is that wherever the church is lacking in creativity, it's because we're trying to be what we should be, supporting. If that does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. So how do you, like, for example, let's say, I don't know, where we're doing the asphalt at the church I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm not, obviously they're not Christian, right? But I'm still utilizing their gifts. So is that how you go about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, giving them the space and showing the appreciation of the talents and gifts, just like appreciating Frank Sinatra, if you could say, for the gifts that they have.
Yeah. I mean, and fellas, you feel free to jump in. I bet you AC has some good thoughts on this. I just think it's just like, it's like, I think our number one job, I think sometimes since we've added production and creativity as a central role in the church, which we have to understand is a very new thing. Sometimes I think we've gotten caught up between who we should be bringing in as a craftsman and a consultant versus who should be like embodied church staff. And so that's why someone asked the other day, you know, why are church creatives, you know, on staff the least spiritual? And part of my answer is probably because a lot of them don't need to be working at the church full time. Like they don't need like, and even these days, you know, in this season of my life, there's several churches that have wanted me to come on staff since we've left Elevation. And I'm like, hey, what like, and they want me to do like creative stuff and social media. I'm like, you don't need me on your staff 24/7 to be doing that. Like, in fact, you'll save money. You don't need to be. So what ends up happening is church, you know, tries to pay like a 22-year-old designer $40K a year to be their creative mastermind when they lack training and maybe even the passion, when they should be taking half that money or maybe even the same amount of money and be paying an expert, you know, in their craft. So yeah, man, I think you're definitely on it. And I think what we should be doing more is trying to support Christian businessmen and women. Like, hey, oh my gosh, chat just blew up. What just happened? An anonymous gifter with the sub. Let's go. Of course, I remember dodgeball.
You knocked him.
Dang, bro.
That's squad right here.
That's great, Jake. I'm so glad you're here, bro. I'd love to catch up, bro, and see how you're doing. We're in Charlotte, North Carolina now. We have 3 kids. We're about to move to Nashville.
There's one dude right here. Behind the rock.
This is bad. 54. You might have to.
John to your right. Right there. Behind the rock.
Behind the rock.
Behind the rock. Oh, be careful with the sniping up there, up top.
One. Ah, he's low. He's low. Hey, I'm just gonna. Oh, y'all are alive. I'm just gonna reboot. That's so cool.
Yo, Spartan, can you get me?
Oh shoot, I got ops.
What you gotta do right here?
Bro, congrats, man. Little girl. Yeah, I have 2 daughters, bro. You have 2 girls and a boy. Congrats on your first baby, man. STL is St. Louis, right? That's so cool, bro. So glad you're here. This makes me so happy. Yeah, man. So basically, like, I do a lot of what I did in terms of teaching and preaching, which I would hope to think I'm better at now than when I was your youth pastor. As I do it while playing Fortnite. You know, we have good conversation, God conversations by hitting clips like that while I'm telling you that God has a plan for your life, bro, and for your baby girl and for your girlfriend. Jake, dude, I don't think it's even an accident that you found it. What are the odds, bro? Now, that's not to say that there aren't churches that definitely have like a creative DNA to them, you know? And they shouldn't feel bad for that. But it's just also churches shouldn't feel bad if they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, some churches, we like make pastors pastoring great again or like normal again. You know what I'm saying? Like make like you don't have to wear off-white. You don't have to wear essentials. Dear God, you don't have to wear essentials, bro. Y'all are killing it. For all of us that actually care about that. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm about to be off essentials forever, bro. Whenever the campus pastors or the associate pastors start wearing something, you know it's on its way out. It's just, that's like the death rattle. It's just fact. But it's just like, bro, like, make non-cool pastors cool again. You know what the coolest thing to me in ministry is? Just like a pastor who just like, you know, pastors. Like, they don't try to start conferences. They don't try to be social media cool. They just go, yeah, dude, I teach people about the word of God in the Bible. Like, that's what people need the most. I guarantee you, like this guy in chat right now, Jake, I guarantee you, me being cool and relevant and funny was probably part of, like, I don't know, part of it. But like, he didn't care about that. He cared that I came to his baseball games. He cared that I remember the name of his dodgeball team. And I remember when he switched from pitching in baseball to focusing on bowling. Like, I remember this stuff, and I'm not trying to flex. I'm just saying that's what being a pastor is. And this kid was in my youth ministry, over a decade ago. Like, pastors pastor people, they shepherd people. And I think that the greatest need in churches right now from church isn't creativity, it's community, it's discipleship, it's development. But so many pastors are with good intentions really busy trying to execute all these creative things, when I think people were just like, bro, I just need a church, bro. I don't need to go to Coachella every time I go to church. I don't need to go to
Yeah.
that's my vibe. And yeah, I don't know. That's my a bit of my experience and opinion. What's up, Payson Williams?
Oh shoot.
Oh,
Dude right
shoot.
here.
31 blue.
Dude right here.
I'm trying to
He's
get you
behind
AC. Yeah, I see.
Tree.
I just have the gray thing.
Oh, I don't know how you do it, but you be deep in the conversation and playing. That's a
Yeah,
skill.
that's
I'm
why I'm
like-
struggling, bro.
I'm
Bro, you
sorry.
missed
it.
I'm
Anything.
sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Nah, bro, that's a talent.
Dude,
Oh, bro.
I glitch, bro.
Like I'm
Not
trying to
at all.
chime in, but then you
Yeah.
guys go like
Oh,
two
my
two
bad.
topics later.
My bad. Was someone
Yeah, now that I'm dead, I got something.
Yeah, bro.
Well,
well, hey, now
like,
that you're
we
dead,
pick
you,
up
you
on?
you guys speak into it, and then I'm gonna get my guy Phil in here, and we'll have Phil replace one of y'all, and then we'll keep rotating people in.
I think what you're saying is great about like pastors have forgotten maybe their main job, and they want to be creative and they want to get the clicks, and it's like, man, that's not your place. You know, I've been blessed enough. My wife's a creative. She's got her own like graphic design business, all this stuff and studio art, and she's on my team, on my youth team. But like I help use her help for like social media and like making sermon slides and stuff. But that's not where her best work is done. You know, her best work is done like being creative, how God's made her to be creative and making art that glorifies him outside of even church, like you were saying. And then had a student, he is about to graduate at Mizzou through their journalism and their videography, cinematography stuff they got going on down there. And he never served on my team for anything at church creative wise, but I tried to pastor him the best I could. And anytime he's back in town, he hits me up and he's showing me his projects and he's doing stuff to the glory of God. And it's making an impact to people who see his stuff, you know, because it's high quality. It's what he's meant to do. And he was limited trying to serve with that gift in the church. And so that's what I would say.
That's facts, bro. And I feel some of the, I feel not bad, like I pity them, but I'm like, I just feel for some of these pastors that like feel the pressure to be like this, and it's like, no, we like just stop. Like we actually need you to be you know, and we don't need you to feel the pressure to be something that you're not.
Yeah, also like I feel like a lot of, sorry to cut you off.
Oh no,
bro,
go.
but, like I feel like a lot of pastors like they feel like they probably have to change so much because it works for such and such or XYZ. But I think a lot of people begin to hit the comparison thing, and really at the end of it all, if God has called us to only preach to 100 people every Sunday, then that's okay. You know what I mean? Like not to thousands over and over. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have friends that are pastors. They're like preaching to thousands like every weekend, but like also like I have family members that's a pastor and they only preach to 100 people every weekend. Like I think you have to be content that that's where God has you. And I think a lot of people try to do the most when realizing what they're doing is what it already works.
Facts, bro. And what if one of those 100 people is the next Mr. Beast or Kai Cenat?
Bro, yes.
Or like again, what if they're just a really faithful business person, or you know what I'm saying? It's like I just think we've gotten so focused on influencers that we forget how much influence every person has. And I just think that like, man, just the multiplication effect of like just faithfully pastoring 100 people, well, to me is so much more impactful than just drawing crowds of thousands, you know? And I'm not saying you can't do both. I'm just saying it's just exactly what AC said. Like, I think there are some people that are sacrificing one for the other. So CM says in chat, if one of those 100 people you're called to preach to becomes a missionary, ends up sharing the gospel to thousands, then you know that you did the right thing. Oh, 100%, bro. And here's the last thing I'll
Right.
say. And then, guys, I actually have 2 students that are trying to get in, and so I'm gonna swap everyone out just because I think they have to crash soon. And then if
sure.
y'all are still around, and I'm gonna do this more often too. Like we should make a little group chat, Sam, on IG of like the people that like to run it in these. The last thing I'll say too is biblically, when Jesus is talking about the parable of the lost coin and the parable of the lost sheep, we have equated that to only mean chasing after lost people. But I really, I think when you read it, I think Jesus is painting the picture of how much God views every single individual. And I really think that that's a flawed theology in the church right now, that somehow God loves lost people more than he loves Christians. And it's just not true. It's just not true. God sees that if you just faithfully pastor one person, he's equating that to that one lost sheep. In fact, when you take the parable, that sheep was a part of the flock. So it's not like if Jesus was only talking about lost people, he would have been talking about some animal that's never part of the flock in the first place. And he's added, so I just think that there's pastors that should just celebrate the fact that, like, when you're faithfully loving the one that's right in front of you, even if that doesn't turn into thousands of salvations every year, I think you're being more faithful than Outreach Magazine or some of these people will ever tell you, bro. Like you are doing the most, for real. Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of the Fortnite Bible Podcast. I hope this inspired you, that creativity comes from the Creator, and that God wants to use the creative gifts he's given inside of you to make a difference, serve people, and let his glory shine. Love you guys. Bye.